Tom here with Clear Loss Consultants, the most trusted public adjusters in Texas. So what is a PA? Who needs a PA? Public Adjusting 101.
So what is a PA and why do I need one?
So PA is an acronym we use for public adjuster. And it's sort of a misnomer because most people don't even know what an adjuster is. I mean, they know what adjusters do, but why do they call adjusters adjusters? A public adjuster is basically the same thing as the insurance company adjuster, except for they're going to represent you. They represent you in the claim. So the insurance company has their adjuster. They've sent their adjuster out, and he is speaking for the insurance company. He's assessing the damage based on the criteria set forth by the insurance company. A public adjuster, we represent you, the homeowner. We represent the policyholder. So we're pursuing your best interest rather than whatever the corporate structure has defined for us.
So legally you're called a public adjuster, but really you're a private adjuster.
A private adjuster, public adjuster, they can be interchanged very easily.
And so what is a homeowner's right to a public adjuster? Is it something that the insurance company has to approve? Is it are they allowed? Does the insurance company have to recognize a public adjuster? What right do the homeowners have to these?
So that's one of the biggest issues that I have with the insurance industry right now is that policyholders are not always given a full understanding of what their rights are and what they're allowed. And when they call and they're upset about their claim, nobody says to them, hey, you can hire your own adjuster, or hey, you can hire a public adjuster, hey, consult your attorney, or even talk to them about the appraisal process, which is written into the policy. So a homeowner has the right to be represented in the state of Texas. They have the right to say, hey, I don't think the insurance company is treating me fairly. I think the insurance company has their own agenda in mind. I want to be represented. There are only two people that can represent you in an insurance claim, and that is a licensed public adjuster or a licensed attorney. Nobody else can represent you.
Well, I let my contractor took care of it for me. My roofer's going to get me paid.
You know, that's we hear that pretty often. People say, well, my contractor can do what you do, and he does it for free. So why wouldn't I just use my contractor? The problem with the contractor is he's very limited on what he can do, what he can say, and the response that he can get from an adjuster. If a contractor mentions the policy, the adjuster will immediately shut him down. He cannot have that conversation with him. You have to be a licensed public adjuster or an attorney to discuss policy provisions, policy language, and how it works. So your contractor can go to the adjuster and say, hey, I need more money to do the roof, or I need more money for the rebuild. But that's the limit of his. And if the adjuster says to him, well, that's not covered by the policy, or that's not excluded by the policy, all the contractor can do is shrug his shoulders and go, okay. If an adjuster tells me, hey, that's excluded in the policy, or the policy doesn't make provision for that, my answer is, show me the policy. Let me see the policy. Let me read the language that you're talking about. Because as a public adjuster, I have the right and the obligation to read the policy and interpret the language that's in there.
Can a contractor or these insurance claim specialists that advertise as part of their construction business, can they booger up a claim?
Oh, absolutely. So the initial check that you get from the insurance company, we call that the low-hanging fruit. That's the easy part. So they paid X dollars and it's nowhere near what you need to be. Statements made by the homeowner or the contractor can seriously compromise your ability to collect on a claim. Sometimes just the wrong thing said, like a great example is mold. I've had homeowners that call their insurance company and they say, well, we got mold. And the person on the phone will literally say to them, we don't cover mold, and hang up. Well, the truth is they have mold, but the mold was caused by a water loss. The water loss is the cause of loss. The mold may be a product of the cause of loss, and there may actually be some coverage for that. But they called the insurance company and they said mold, and that's it. It's over.
So where we are here in North Texas, hail's, every other day we're getting a hailstorm somewhere. How many times have you been on a hail claim where wind damage was present and it got denied because they only made a hail claim and not a wind and hail claim?
That happens all the time. You'll have an adjuster say, well, you're going to have to file another claim for the wind. We got the hail, but the wind's separate. Well, if you know anything about weather, then you know it's impossible to have hail without wind. It's wind that drives that hailstone back up into the clouds, causing it to collect even more ice before it's finally heavy enough to fall to the ground.
And even on a more shallow or less technical, it's an easy round to go. But it's just it's that simple with the wording to lose a claim. It's that simple with the wording to let an adjuster come in there and manipulate a homeowner, make you look like a liar, make you look like you don't, and cause a homeowner to lose faith in the process that quickly.
Absolutely, and again, your public adjuster, when he's filing your claim, he's going to file the claim based on his experience and based on what he knows is involved in this claim. When I file roof claims for hail, I never file a hail claim. It's always wind and hail, windstorm and hail, but always.
And again, that's just one circumstance. That's one example.
Absolutely.
I mean, they just have a Rolodex of reasons just to pounce when somebody makes a mistake, right?
Well, if you think about it, your average person will file one claim every 10 years, one major claim in their lifetime. You're talking to an adjuster, desk adjuster, field adjuster. They've done hundreds of claims this year, hundreds of claims. They got a whole playbook of this is the response for that, this is how we treat this is how we handle that. I'm not saying that it's all bad, but sometimes there's not a lot of thought given to your claim. We're just, well, if they say mold, we say this, and it's not based on the actual events or what actually occurred. It's based on a playbook.
Yeah, something I've experienced too, I've noticed is it's a flavor of the month almost, where you get all these different rebuttals, you get all these dirty adjuster tricks, and they're pretty standard. You see the same stuff over and over again, but then you'll see a new one.
Yes.
And then it'll be once or twice. And then you'll know every time you get a claim from this particular carrier, you know that this is their new approach. This is what they're teaching now. And then it seems like in no time you're hearing it from all the carriers until we get a ruling, until it goes to trial, and then the cycle starts again.
So adjusters are like any other industry. They kind of run the circuit. So I was an adjuster over here at ABC Insurance, and at ABC Insurance, they said, hey, we're not going to call that hail. We're going to call it wear and tear. And when their contract runs out with ABC Insurance, then they go over here to Big Blue Insurance. And they're wanting to make a name for themselves, wanting to get a reputation, and they sit down with their boss and go, listen, you can call that hail if you want to, but we call it wear and tear. Where I came from, we called that wear and tear. Well, all of a sudden, Big Blue sees, oh, okay, now we understand why XYZ is making so much money. So they adopt that, and they say, okay, we're not going to call it hail. We're going to call that wear and tear. We're going to call it marring. And so the cycle just continues until all these adjusters have gone to all these different companies, and they're all using the same playbook.
So let's go down that road a little bit, because again, something a homeowner's not going to know. So, can you elaborate on the difference between a desk adjuster and a field adjuster, and why and why if a field adjuster comes up and promises you the moon or is reasonable with you, that may not be what you get in your estimate when you actually receive payment?
There's a lot of semantics and confusion, and I can't help but think some of it may be intentional, because most people don't realize that when someone shows up to their home, they say, well, that's my adjuster. And then they've been to their home, they've sent in their report, and they never hear from that person again. Now they're dealing with someone inside. And well, I'm your adjuster. And then 2 weeks later, that adjuster gets reassigned, and now I got another adjuster. And it's a game that they seem to play where it just, like I said, the average homeowner is just like, and a lot of times, let's talk about what an adjuster actually is, okay? They call them adjusters because every insurance claim has its own circumstance, its own merit. And so an adjuster is supposed to adjust the claim. He's supposed to adjust to what the policy says and what actually transpired at that property. That's where the name adjuster comes from. So an adjuster is supposed to be able to assess the damage, write an estimate for the damage, and bind the coverage on the insurance company. But that's not what happens today. A guy comes out to your house and he says, I'm your adjuster, and he inspects your property.
Maybe a staff adjuster, maybe a 1099 adjuster on a contract.
He could be an independent adjuster. He could be a company adjuster. He may not be an adjuster at all. And if you go by the true definition of what an adjuster is, he's not an adjuster, because when you say, well, what do you think about my roof? Well, I can't say. I'm just here to get photos and measurements, and that's it. So are you an adjuster, or are you a glorified picture taker? Because you came out to my house, you looked at my roof. To me, the damage is really obvious, but you can't make an assessment. That somebody else has to make that assessment. If you can't decide what's covered and what's not covered, you're not an adjuster. So it goes inside. In a lot of companies, it goes inside to a quote-unquote desk adjuster, and supposedly they make all the decisions, but they really don't.
So you're at a used car lot, and you make an offer, and the field adjuster here has got to run back and talk to their manager. That's the situation. But instead of a used car, this is your home. This is your livelihood. Your world's upside down. You're displaced. You got a roof torn off. Whatever the situation may be, and they got to go talk to their manager, who's never been on your property, never came out and looked at it, doesn't have to answer to you because they don't answer your phone calls. So they're just sitting back the messenger again.
Well, let's think about the normal human psychology. If I'm standing here and I'm looking at you face to face and I see your situation, I'm going to be much more sympathetic to you, and the most likely is wherever I can help you, I'm going to help you.
Yeah.
So what the insurance industry has done is it's created all these layers between you and the actual person making the assessment. So the person who's making the assessment, they didn't see your situation. They didn't actually see the damage. They saw photos. They saw a write-up. Maybe the field adjuster did an excellent report. Maybe he did a horrible report. He sent it inside to the desk adjuster, and the desk adjuster takes it and puts everything, makes sure everything's formatted properly, but it actually goes to somebody else for approval. But you don't know who somebody else is. The desk adjuster, that's the one you're talking to. And they're the one telling you what we will pay for, what we won't pay for, but they didn't decide that. Somebody else did.
Yeah, sometimes it's the desk adjuster, but sometimes it's really just whoever's hiding behind the keyboard.
Well, exactly.
And that's what I tell my homeowners. Sometimes that they're a little disappointed during an initial meeting, or the adjuster or ladder now, or the preferred contractor comes out to do an assessment. And I'm not fighting that guy. He's the lowest rung on the ladder. Sometimes they're good guys. Sometimes they're asking for trouble. But sometimes they're good guys. And the guys I respect the most are the ones that come up and say, look, I see where you're coming from. I see what you're saying, but I got to answer to somebody. The person I have the least amount of respect for is the one who promises the world or whatever, and then gets tough behind their keyboard.
If they didn't put it in writing, it didn't happen. They can tell you, I'm going to pay for this roof. We're going to get this done. We're going to get that done. If they didn't send you an email that said that, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, even then it doesn't matter. I mean, we've got cases like that. We're dealing with those. we got plenty of that going on too. That the desk adjuster overrides, or it goes to a supervisor, and they're going to double down, and whatever. We deal with that.
And here's what surprises a lot of people, and they don't understand this. And I actually saw this happen. An insurance company sent the homeowner a denial letter. And they said, we're denying your claim. It was a hail claim. We're denying your claim. We didn't find any damage. What they didn't realize that they had done, they also sent her an estimate for a full roof replacement. So at the bottom of the estimate, it said, this is the estimate for the damages that we found at your property. So then they sent her another estimate, a revised estimate, and even higher. So I called the adjuster and I said, you sent them an estimate, you sent them an estimate for a full replacement. So is this a denial, or are you paying for the roof? Oh no, it's a denial. Well, what had happened was the field adjuster had written an estimate for a full roof replacement, and then he edited it and added more. And the inside adjuster said, nope, we're not paying it.
They reviewed the photos.
They reviewed it.
Okay. So they overruled the man that was out there.
Yeah,
on the field.
because
wrote an estimate.
he called it hail, but it was really wear and tear.
Right. Okay. Because of the photos.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Those great photos.
Okay, so we know what a PA does. So who needs a PA? Who's hiring PAs? Homeowners, property owners, landlord? Who's hiring a PA?
Everybody needs a PA. Listen, you can file a claim, and it says this in our contract, and by law in Texas, I have to tell you that you do not need a public adjuster to file a claim. You do not need an attorney to file a claim. That's a fact. But you also don't need an attorney to go to court. But would you show up without one? You don't have to file a tax return. The IRS will do it for you. Will you let them file your tax return?
I'm in the middle of a divorce. I promise you, I'm not showing up without an attorney.
Exactly. Because you have to have somebody to speak for you. You have to that, and it goes back to, again, you file a claim, a few times in your lifetime. I'm doing this every day. Are you more reliant on what you know and what you think you can get done, or do you want to go to somebody who does this every day and has a proven track record of results? As a public adjuster, we have a proven track record. Clear Loss Consultants has gotten so many claims paid, so many denied claims paid, so many underpaid claims paid. Why wouldn't you use us? 10% is our fee. That's what we charge. Okay? And sometimes people get hung up with that, and they're like, well, why would I give you 10%? You're going to give me 10% because I'm going to get you way more from an insurance company than you'll ever be able to get on your own. Almost without exception. There are rare cases where an adjuster comes out and they do exactly the right thing. And they take care of the homeowner, they pay what they're supposed to pay, everything's good. But it is so rare, it's almost legendary.
Yeah, I can tell you, keeping books here, I haven't closed out. We're coming up on second quarter. I'm a little behind, but for the first quarter of 24, our average return from the initial adjuster, from the initial inspection and estimate to where we settled the claim was 249%.
249%.
And some of those were
which is essentially 2.5 times what the insurance company offered you.
Right, and some of those are roofs that close out at $30,000. And then we have flood claims, whole home guts that ended up at 280. So we're talking about 249%.
So I wish I had a whiteboard here so we could do the math for everybody to see. But think about this. If I charge you 10% to handle your claim, but I get you 40, 50, or 249% more, how much did it really cost you to use me? It didn't cost you anything. You made money on the deal.
It cost you a whole lot of money to take that initial effort.
And I want to be careful in using the expression "made money" because you're not allowed to make a profit off an insurance claim. That's against the law.
But you want to put your house.
But exactly, you have a full budget to do a full. When insurance pays a claim, it's supposed to pay you the retail value of the damage, the retail cost, contractor rates for labor. You're not supposed to have to go out and find the low bidder and hope that you can put your house back together. You should have all the funds you need to put your house back where it was. And that's a great topic and this is something that we beat into all of our adjusters is the word indemnity. Indemnity it's a simple word, and usually when you throw it at an adjuster, it can really break the ice. And it's indemnity means putting you back where you were before the loss. So when the adjuster comes out with their lowball offer and says, well, we'll pay you X dollars, does that put the homeowner back where they were before the loss? No, it does not. Your suggested repair, is that going to put them where they were? No, it does not. This is what you owe them. You have to indemnify them.
So to a surprise to me, probably the most hate that I get, across our social media platforms, or someone runs into me at a show or something. Every once in a while, someone's brave enough, but the most hate that I get is from users' profiles with no username, no profile picture, and they're probably making $40,000 a year adjusting for a carrier, calling PA scum of the earth. And the second most hate I get, which was surprising to me, is from contractors. So why would a contractor? What can you do for a contractor? Why does a contractor need a PA? Well, why does every contractor need a PA in their back pocket? Someone to call they can trust.
So that's that. Listen, in every industry, there are good and there are bad. There are excellent adjusters out there. They do a good job. We work with them. We have very professional exchanges. No problem. Got no fault with them. But there's some horrible, horrible adjusters out there. There are excellent public adjusters. Clear Loss Consultants, we strive for excellence in everything that we do. But there's some horrible public adjusters out there, and so
we started on the other side.
We started on the other side. We worked for the insurance company,
and first. I thought the same thing too.
Yeah.
Remember, I remember meeting PAs. We'd find out there's PA on the claim, and I would show up ready to fight or show up ready for who knows what.
You never know. When I pull up to a site and I meet an adjuster, I never know what to expect from that adjuster. When an adjuster pulls up to a site and there's a public adjuster, a contractor, he never knows what to expect. We kind of have to feel each other out. That's just part of it. But there are, like I said, there are terrible public adjusters. We strive for excellence in everything that we do. When I deal with a contractor and, contractor says, I don't need a public adjuster. Well, listen, if the claim got paid and you got all the money that you need to make that customer whole and get that property right, you're right. You don't need a public adjuster. And we tell our contractors, don't send me every claim. Send me the ones that are underpaid. Send me the ones you can't get bought. Send me those and let me show you what I can do. We never fail. Do we win every single claim? No. We miss out on a few. But our success rate is in the high 90s always.
I think we've missed 2 roofs this whole year, and we knew that going in. So, in my opinion, if you're a contractor, especially if you're not a general contractor, when you specialize, when you're a roofer, you're coming out, you're looking at the roof claim.
Yes.
You care about the roof claim. And
yes.
That's your area. You're not wrong for that. But the problem is there's collateral everywhere. There's fencing, there's window damage, there's furniture damage, there's the list goes on, and you're focused on what you specialize in.
Yes.
And you're leaving money on the table for the homeowner.
Well, that's just it. We had that conversation earlier. The contractor can discuss the value of the cost of repairs, the scope of repairs with the adjuster, but what if your house isn't livable? Is that contractor going to be able to get you temporary housing? No. He can't have that discussion.
And for a contractor, again, being on that side of the fence, if you can get a homeowner taken care of, if you can get a homeowner what they're entitled to, every contractor knows the dream scenario is those people pack up, move away, they go down the street, you put their house back together.
Yep.
It's a nightmare remodeling, moving a family from room to room while you're trying to remodel their house.
It is a nightmare.
Noise, dust, kids, all this stuff. You're in there way too long. So you're cutting your own nose off. If you can get someone in there and create a better situation for you to work in, a more sustainable situation to maintain a good relationship throughout the course of the project. And more importantly, you're putting a homeowner back together whole.
We were contractors before we ever got into insurance. Even before we went to work for the insurance companies
Right.
as consultants, building consultants and so forth. And so that's the biggest bonus that we have to offer a contractor is we get where you're at. We understand what you're trying to accomplish. I talked to a contractor. We have so many contractors that work with us. And I talked to a contractor one time and he said, well, I work with this PA and it seems like every claim I got ends up in litigation. Well, that's all well and good. You're really going to stick it to the insurance company because you got the lawyer and you got, you're going after them. But what does that do for you as a contractor? You're going to wait 3 years to do this work and finally get paid. Wouldn't it be better to have someone who has the claims handling experience?
At that time, the homeowner hates everybody involved.
Exactly. Everybody loses at that point. That doesn't help you. One of the things I understand about my roofing contractors is they want to get the roof done. They want to make their money and they want to go on to the next roof. So we handle those claims as quickly and as efficiently as possible so that they can make more money. The contractors that we use, especially the roofing contractors, will tell us time and time again how much we have improved their close ratio. Mm-hmm. How many more jobs they're able to get done, how many more jobs they're able to get funded, paid for. They can get the roof, they get the job done, they got a happy customer. They move on down to the next one. They don't want to get hung up waiting for whatever's decided here or whatever's decided there.
Well, you're waiting on a claim. It's crippling your cash flow.
Absolute crippling.
You got a customer calling every day wanting an update.
Yep.
You got relationships breaking down. It's a snowball effect and it stacks up. And this is something that the adjusters know. This is what the carriers know. They make it as difficult as possible. They make it to where it's not worth it to you. And we have contractors that call all the time that turn down good, profitable insurance jobs because they don't want to mess with it, because they can't.
Yeah.
You call an adjuster and every time you need a supplement, every time you have a question about something, if they even return your call, if they even get back to you, well, send me an email, let me review. Send me this, send me that. You're on one goose chase after another while you're trying to run a full-time business. While you have a homeowner breathing down your neck, while you have employees that need to be paid, and you have some, 22-year-old adjuster somewhere, it's just asking for more and more crap that their manager asked you for.
And that's, that's part of the game. Is let's wear you out.
Yeah.
Let's put so much on you just get wore out. And for somebody who is a roofing contractor, how much time do you have to deal with an adjuster? Especially when they put that game on you.
Yeah.
Where we want this form and we want that and send us more photos. And when I'm dealing with an adjuster and the adjuster says, well, I need more photos, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You come out and see it. I've sent you my photos. You see the damage. You come out and say, well, we need more photos of this.
So
or that.
they've sent either an adjuster or someone pretending to be an adjuster.
Yep.
You've been there. You've sent in your photo report, your estimate. But this person behind a desk somewhere needs more photos.
Yeah, they want more photos. It's just a game.
Right.
Send us a photo. Send us a contract for this. Send us this documentation. Send us that documentation. Absolutely not. What do I owe you? What does the policy say I owe you? Whatever it says, that's what I'm going to do, and that's where I'm going to stop. And then we're going to move on to the next step. We're going to get this done.
And that's something that a PA, that's a good place to separate a PA from a contractor. Because once the adjuster digs in, what lawfully or not, that's it. What's the contractor going to do?
Right.
What's the homeowner going to do?
What's the law allow a contractor to do when a adjuster folds their arms and stomps their feet and says, we won't go any further from here, what can a contractor do? The law is, he's very limited by the law.
And how much time do you have with this customer?
And how much time do you have available? I mean,
how much energy have you put in?
Listen,
how many adjuster meetings have you made? How many photos have you gathered? And not only do you look bad to this homeowner, but you got time and money in this homeowner who's walking away.
Yeah. You're a fantastic roofer. You're a great contractor. But insurance is not your thing. That's where I come in. That's where I pick up the ball. You take it so far, it's like a relay race. You took it as far as you could. Hand me the baton. Let me take it to the finish line. Because this is what I do. This is what I know how to do. Am I scum of the earth? My customers don't think so.
Yeah, that's what. So yeah, I've been called.
My insurance company
Yeah.
might think so, but my customers don't.
Yeah, I'm scum of the earth. We're raising insurance rates. We're thieves, lie, all these horrible things. But I got a whole book of clients in there.
Thousands of them.
I have customers that call because their insurance carrier, their insurance agent slipped them a card under the desk and said, "Hey, these people can help you." I have contractors that have me on every single one of their jobs. Now, we don't ask them to do that, but they do. I review every single one because and they come back, and I've been with them for years, and they've been calling for years.
Exactly. 90% of our new customers come from referral. And the funny thing is 90% of our new customers say, I never even heard of a public adjuster. I didn't even know a public adjuster was an option. And that's really the word that we're trying to get out is you have options. The adjuster is not the final authority on your claim. The adjuster is going to make their statements right or wrong. They're going to make their proclamation right or wrong. That doesn't mean that they're the final authority. You have other options.
Yeah,
We're probably the best one. I'll be honest with you. When you consider time and cost and all of that, a public adjuster is your best option. You can go to an attorney. I charge 10%, an attorney charges 40%. I'm going to wrap up your claim. Most of the claims we handle, we wrap up in 30 to 60 days. Most of them. There are some that will run longer. I'm not going to deceive anybody. Your average attorney is going to take 1 to 3 years. If you're fighting over and the other thing about an attorney is an attorney won't even. We have a few attorneys that will look at claims at $50,000. Most of them will not look at anything under $50,000. Most attorneys want $100,000 plus. So your Spanish tile roof is damaged by hail. It's $49,000 to replace it. You may not be able to find an attorney. And even if you did, he wants 40% of that $49,000.